Hello everyone, I'm Kathy Coyle, your host for the next 5 minutes as we look beyond the surface of the Detroit Lakes area. We have some positive news to share with you today, as well as some troubling news, but I want to start with the positive. My guest today is Jan Logan, the Executive Director of the Lakes Crisis Center, and Jan has some really exciting news to share with us today. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you, Kathy. I sure do. It was about a year ago, right now, that a woman called the office, the Lakes Crisis and Resource Center's office, and said that she would like to visit with me. And so we set up a date. She came into town. We met for coffee. We talked for the morning. And this individual asked me some very direct questions about the organization, the services we provide, our budget, and what exactly does the Lakes Crisis and Resource Center do. I'm sure many of you know that woman was Mary Newman, and at the end of that day, she gave me a big hug and she said, Jan, I would like to present the Lakes Crisis and Resource Center with a $1 million donation to help victims of domestic violence and their children have a place that they can be safe and be sheltered for more than 3 to 5 days that we currently have.
Did you about fall off your chair at that point?
I was in shock, I have to tell you, Kathy. I went home that night and I was telling my husband I went to sleep, and I bet I woke up 6 times. Yeah. And I was like pinching myself going, is this true?
Yeah.
Or is this just a dream?
Because this is something that you've hoped would happen, that you want a safe place for victims of violence to go to.
Absolutely. I've been here almost 4 years now. In the first few years, I kept questioning people that I worked with, people in the state of Minnesota, past directors, and saying, we have to have a shelter here. Do you realize many times a week we have women with young children come here that need a safe place to stay, and we are not able to provide anything for them more than just 2 to 5 days in a local housing unit in the community. So it's not long-term shelter, and victims of domestic violence need that. The most significant reason victims go back to their abuser is that they have no place to go.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, that people that know nothing about this topic think, why do they stay? Well, but you just answered that. They have no place to go.
They have no place to go. And especially in a rural community, also there's economic reasons for them. It's also isolationism, and they want to stay in their community and be around family and support mechanisms that they may have. So a shelter will be able to provide these women and their children a very safe place for them to stay and really begin to heal and look at themselves and say, okay, what is it going to take for me to not be living in a abusive environment?
Yeah. Wonderful gift, but it doesn't reach the finish line. You need about $3 million to make this happen, and then you need even more money after that to keep it operating. So how can people listening today get involved? And I should mention, because of TV3 and Leighton Broadcasting, Jan and I will be back next week and the week after that to tell you more. But I do want to mention right now, Jan, how people can get involved if they want to get involved.
They can call me at the Crisis Center. That number is 847-8572. They can send a check to us. You're right, we need a goal of $3 million. We're at 1.2. We hope to have close to $800,000 in grants. We've sent out many grants throughout the state of Minnesota and the country, as well as we need local support. And if you'd like to send us a check, you can write it to the Lakes Crisis and Resource Center Capital Campaign, Post Office Box 394 in Detroit Lakes 56502.
And you know, if you want to do the same thing that Mary Newman did, I mean, she did her due diligence. She met with Jan, she quizzed her, she quizzed the staff, she saw what they were like, she saw the quality of services right here in the Detroit Lakes area, serving many, many cities and a couple of different counties. So if you want to do that, you call Jan, or you can email her at janl at rvig.net. And we'll be back next week. Thanks to TV3, they've given us time to share more with you about the good work, this wonderful staff at the Lakes Crisis Center making a difference, making our community much more safe. We'll see you next week.